what's up, and welcome back to my channel. If you do not already know me, my name is Mario Kardash, and if you are a new subscriber, I just want to say a very special thank you to you. I just want to thank all of you for taking the time to view this video, because this video is going to be something very special and sentimental to me. Today's topic, I'll be talking about my mother's death and how it affected me throughout all these years. This past Tuesday, it made 5 years that she has passed away. And I just thought this video was going to be a very special way to honor her memory and just to continue living her memory on. Today's video, I'll be talking about my mom. I think it was Tuesday. I'm sorry, I'm just checking my calendar. Yes, this past Tuesday was the 17th, December 17th. And that day marked 5 years that my mother passed away. I just want to excuse myself if, like, you see me, like, drifting off into space or whatever. Because, like, this topic is something very, 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 very hard for me to talk about. I don't really talk about it with people. I rarely talk about it anymore. But I just thought it would make a perfect way to just honor my mom. So, let's get into this. I was 14 when she passed away. I have 2 younger siblings. One was 10, I believe, and the other was 6. My mother's death was sudden and unexpected. So it's not like she was sick and we knew that she was going to die. Like, the day before, I remember, like it was yesterday, I was with her at the mall. Like, we were just going to go get her phone fixed. And the whole day, we were just chilling. Like, I remember I got out of school early that day. We just went to the mall. We were having fun. Like, we were just enjoying life. Like, we went and we got our eyebrows done that day. She got her nails did. Because, mind you, December 17th is like a week and a half before Christmas. So, we're just preparing for Christmas, you know, like a normal family would. And the next morning, I was supposed to be taking my exam to get into high school. Because in New Jersey, in the school that I went to a technical school. So, in order to get into that school, you had to take like a placement test type thing. So, I remember that morning, I woke up and I heard screaming. And I'm just laying in my room. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't know what's going on. So, I'm kind of scared. So, I I get up in my bed and I just look around. Like, I don't know if y'all ever do that. Like, if y'all just get up and, like, it takes y'all a minute to, like, alright, like, get to reality. So, I'm just sitting in bed. And then, I'm in pajamas. Like, I'm not even dressed yet. Nothing. Haven't even brushed my teeth. So, I get up and, like, I peek out the door. Well, my bedroom door. And I'm just standing there. And I see my little sister and my dad run into my my parents' bedroom. And they're just yelling, wake up, wake up, wake up. And they just keep calling her name. And I was clueless. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what the heck? So I walk inside the room, and I don't know, like, it was just, I kind of knew, because I just looked at my mom, and she looked like she was sleeping, but she was just, like, I don't know, it was something different about her. So, when all that was going on, my dad's trying to wake my mom up. Jackie, 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 wake up, wake up, wake up. And my little sister is just, like, screaming her lungs out because she doesn't know what's going on. She's only 10 years old. And then my other little sister, who's 6 years old, she's just standing there clueless. So I kind of take them out and I put them in the other room, which was their room, all the way in the other side of the house. And I just tell them, stay here, give us a couple minutes. I don't know what's going on, but I'll be back. Don't worry, just stay in here and just chill out. So, when I went back to the room, my dad was calling the ambulance, I think. I think he was calling the ambulance. I don't remember who did, because my little sister does have special needs. So, we had her nurse coming in that day. And I remember she came in, I think, 5 minutes after all that was going on. And we immediately told her, like, can you please help us? Like, we don't know what's going on. So I remember all of us went into the room and we all tried to perform CPR on her, like, we were like, Mom, well, Jackie, wake up. We don't know what's going on. So, like, we're touching her face. We're touching her body parts, trying to, like, alert her to wake up. And nothing was happening. Like, she was just not being responsive. None of that. So, first it was my dad that was trying to perform CPR. And then we moved him away so that he could call people to come help, like 911 and all that. And then family members who were close in the area. Then after that, me and the nurse, we were just, and I'm not going to say her name for private concerns, but me and the nurse, we were just going back and forth trying to help my mom perform CPR. And I remember I was actually giving my mom CPR, and it was just like a very vivid memory. Her lips were blue. She was like, she wasn't cold, but she wasn't warm. So, like, she was like, I don't even know how to describe it. After that, I remember the ambulance coming, and all the EMTs came inside the house, and it was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, it just, like, mind you, I was 14, but I was still young. Like, for all that to just be, like, popping up out of the blue, I was shocked. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, okay, let me just get my mind together. So, while all that is happening, I don't know what in me told me to go to my neighbor's house and, like, ask for help. But I ran over there barefoot in my pajamas, and I was banging on her door. And she's still a very close friend of mine. She had recently had a daughter, and her daughter was a baby, and I felt so bad afterwards. But it was just like, I didn't know what to do, and I was just like, I'm not gonna say her name for private concerns as well, but I just called her name. I was like, can you please come out and help me? Like, I don't know what's going on. My mom's not waking up. Like, can you just come over and just try to help me or whatever? So she comes over, and I remember while the EMTs are in the room with my mom, I don't know what's going on. I immediately took my close neighbor and her daughter to the back room, which was my sister's room, and we all just sat there in like a circle, and we just started to pray. We were like, Father God, please don't take our mom. Please don't take our mom. Like, I'll do any, like, in that point, I just started, like, I don't know, I think it's called bargaining. Like, oh, please, if you do this, like, if you do this for me, I'll do this, and I promise I won't do that. Da, 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 da. I'll be a better son. I'll do this, I'll do that. And my mind was just racing. I felt like I was in a twilight zone. Like, it was just a very difficult moment for me. Like, I just was so shocked. So I remember after that, I got up from the circle from where we were all praying at on the floor, and I ran back to my mom's room. And they already had moved her from her bed to the floor to give her better support, so when they're giving her CPR, that it's not really like, you know, because if you do it in the bed, it's not going to work. Now I know that, but when I was younger, I didn't. So they took off her bata, and, well, I don't know what you call it. It's called a nightgown in English. And they continued to perform CPR. I don't remember what they were doing. But after that, they had put my mom on the travel board. I don't know what you guys call that, or what they call that. Like, the board to assist her into the ambulance. So I remember the EMT was asking me all these questions, like, why, like, what's going on, what happened, how old is she, all this close information that they wanted to know, obviously, because they needed to write it down to give to the hospital when they arrived. I was just so, like, dazed out. I just was trying to answer his questions and pay attention to everything at the same time. It was just kind of difficult for me to just stay in the moment. So with that being said, I remember the one main question that stood out to me. He kept asking if she was pregnant. I'm like, no, she's not pregnant. Why would you ask that? And I just remembered, like, we were, like, performing CPR on her, like, nonstop. Like, we were not stopping. Like, no matter what, we all started rotating. Like, I would do it for a couple minutes, and then the nurse would do it for a couple minutes, and then my dad, and it was just all of us rotating. So we blew so much air into my mom that she had, like, an enlarged stomach, and it looked like she was pregnant, and that was just the air that was inside of her. And it just was so much. And I remember blowing, when we were giving her CPR, I felt like I knew something was wrong, because every time that we would blow air into her, she would just like the air would just come back up and her lips would just like, I don't even know how to express it. But after that, I remember the ambulance people were just in the, like, they had her in the ambulance and they were performing whatever they were doing on her inside of the ambulance for at least like 10 to 15 minutes. And I'm just sitting there like, why the hell are y'all not moving? Like, what's going on? Like, y'all should already been at the hospital. Like, come on now. Like, y'all trying to save a life and y'all sitting here playing in front of the house. But I think they said by law it's mandatory for them to perform whatever they can to try to get her to, I guess, to resuscitate her in front of the house before they go to the hospital. It's like a certain time limit they're supposed to take or whatever. So, I remember my dad had called a lot of people. Well, not only my dad, but my sister, like, as well. Like, my little sister was only 10, but still, like, she picked up the house phone and she called my grandpa. She called my grandmom. My grandmom called my godmom. And then my dad was speaking to one of her siblings. So it's like a lot of people kind of showed up to the house. And I don't even know how you say that. Like, word by mouth. Like, it just spread. Like, people were just calling everybody. And then people showed up to the hospital. I remember it was so many family members showing up to the house. Like, I walk out and while they're still waiting to transport her to the hospital, I'm just waiting there and I'm watching everybody pull up and everybody's just asking, like, what's going on? Like, and I don't know what to say. I'm like, listen, I don't know. She's in an ambulance. We're waiting to take her to the hospital. So once the ambulance was ready and they said they were going to leave, everybody got back in their car. Everybody transferred to the hospital. And red lights meant nothing to no one that day. Like, everyone was speeding. Everyone was trying to get to the hospital so we could just figure out what was going on. And I honestly don't remember leaving the house. Like, I just remember hopping in the car and saying go. And mind you, I didn't have my license and I was only 14 years old. I was still in middle school. And once we got to the hospital, I remember they took her into room number 1. And they didn't let us in, obviously, because they needed to try to perform the care that they needed to perform to try to resuscitate her. And I don't remember where I was. I think I was in a waiting room, and then they had, like, refreshments and, like, breakfast foods and stuff like that. But I wasn't eating at that time. Like, I was only worried about my mom. Like, why the hell am I in the hospital? It's a week before Christmas. We're not supposed to be here. Like, we're supposed to be home. I was supposed to be taking my test for, to get into high school. Like, anyways. After that, it just was a whole, like, process of waiting. It was just a waiting game. And there was this one nice lady. I think she was a nurse on that floor or like a counselor. I don't remember. She just was talking to us and telling us she hopes everything's going to be all right. She was just offering us a lot of stuff. She was being very helpful and kind. I don't remember her name. But I do appreciate what she did that day because she was just trying to comfort everybody in that time of need. And I remember walking out when I wasn't supposed to because, mind you, that's my mom. I'm not going to sit back and do nothing. So, I walk over to the room, and I think my sisters had followed me, or not both sisters, but my second youngest, which was the 10-year-old. And I remember my dad coming out of the room, and he just had this look of shock in his face, like he didn't know what to say. And I remember he walked up to me and my sister, and we were right back by the nurse's station, and he told us Mommy went to heaven. And I just was like, huh? Mommy went to heaven? What are you talking about? Like, bro, she was just fine last night. We were just laughing and enjoying life and just living it up last night. Like, what are you talking about? She went to heaven. I don't understand. So after that, I ran away. Like, not ran away from everybody, but I just, like, wanted to be alone. Like, I just started walking really fast in the halls. And I remember, I was just so bad with all of this. Like, I just started screaming. I was like, how are me and my sister supposed to live without a mother? This is so unfair. I don't, like, I was just going off. It was so bad. So after that, I remember vividly, I kind of, like, calmed down. But then my god sister showed up, and I think she had came with her father. And she's always been like a sister to me. My mom raised her practically, and me and her both have asthma. So like, we started hyperventilating. It was bad. Like, a nurse had to put us in a room. I think we had to get a treatment. It was just like our breathing was off, and then obviously because we were upset and nervous. So then I remember after we calmed down, we went back into the room where my mom was at, and they had a tube down her throat, and she just was lying there, and she was cold. It was just so cold, and like, I remember grabbing her hand because, like I said, she had her nails done. And I was just looking at her nails, and I was just like playing with her hand, and I was just rubbing her hand with my thumb. And everybody's just around her body, and we're just sitting there staring at her, and she's just so lifeless. I remember a priest walked in. Excuse me. And when the priest walked in, he began to just give her his condolences. And he was informed that we were this religion. So he just asked my father, was it okay if we prayed for a little bit before they took her body? We began to pray. Everybody was just upset, crying. And we just finished praying. And I remember everybody was saying like their little goodbyes before they took my mom to the morgue. I guess that's where they took her. I don't remember. And then everybody was saying like their little goodbyes one-on-one individually. So it was my turn, and I was the one who had asked, was it okay if I said bye last? Because I wanted my own little moment with her. So I remember I pulled up a chair right next to her, and her hand was still holding mine. Well, I was still holding her hand. Her hand was so cold, and I was crying. I just could not, like, I didn't believe it was real. Like, I just was like, what the fuck? Excuse my language. I just was like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is so unreal. So I just continued crying. And I remember, I don't know if it was my dad or somebody else, like, saying, like, God, like, they called, my nickname's Pito, so they were just like, Pito, like, we gotta hurry up, like, they gotta take her. So I was just like, okay, a couple more minutes. So I just started crying, and my tears were falling on top of her face, and I was just rubbing it off of her face, and I just grabbed her face, and I told her, I said, Mom, no matter what, I'm always gonna be there for my little sisters. Don't worry, they're gonna be fine. I'm gonna look after Dad, and just know that whatever happens, I'm always gonna be here for you. No matter, and I know it was weird to say because she had passed on, but it was just like, I'm never gonna forget her. And that's what I just kept telling her. Until this day, I kept my promise. I just felt as though that it was my job to look after my little sisters. And I guess you could say, not take over her role, but pick up her slack. I remember after that, everyone went back to my house. My house was full. It was like if it was a Christmas party going on. And I know that sounds weird to say, but it was just packed. Like, cars were parked up and down my street. It was just so bad. And my best friend, I don't know how people found out, but my best friend had ended up in my house, and when she just got there, I just grabbed her and I hugged her, and I just was crying, and I just was like, whoa, like, what the heck? And that's like what I was just saying all day, like, whoa, like, I just still don't believe this. And I just thank my best friend for showing up, because, like, she's like one of my main support systems, and I just was so thankful to have her there with me that day. And I remember the next day, because when I was little in middle school, I used to sing. So with that being said, I had a concert the next day. I think it was the next day or that same day, I don't remember. So I had a solo, and I just was like, what the hell? Like, how am I going to show up to school with a solo and then be able to just process all this and take all of this in? I just was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, do I go to school? Do I stay home? Like, I was clueless. So I ended up calling the school and asking to speak to my choir teacher. She was a very, very, very dear teacher to me. I was very grateful for having her because she was just the best choir teacher I ever had. And I was crying on the phone and I was explaining to her what had happened. My mother had passed. And at first I said I didn't think I was going to make it to the concert. But then after that I told her, no, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to be there and I'm going to sing. And that's what my mom would have wanted because my mother was always the number one person. So alongside with my father, who was always cheering me on in the crowds. They were there for every concert. And it's just like, I was like, that's what she would have wanted. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pout and be upset because, you know, she had passed. And that's just was my mindset. And I don't know what got into me because, honestly, a 14-year-old, I think that a regular 14-year-old would have never thought like that. Like, they would have been like, all right, well, I'm staying home. Forget it. And they just would have kept it pushing. But I don't know. Something was like, go to school. Everything's going to be okay. And just sing your little heart out. So I remember that night of that concert. My whole family came. Like, I never seen that many people there in support of me. And I remember my choir teacher had dedicated that song to my mother that night. And it was just a beautiful thing. Like, I just was so in like a trance, you could say. Like, I just was like still thinking everything through. I was just like, it was a lot of stuff going through my mind. Like, I didn't know what to think. But I remember after that, it was just like the waiting game until the funeral and the viewing. So throughout that whole time, mind you, it's around Christmas week. And I'm just like, okay, like, when are we going to get to see her? And I remember I used to wake up every morning. I used to ask that. And I used to post on Facebook every single morning. Good morning, mommy. I miss you so much. Da, 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 da. And family members would just come in and visit every day. It just was a long process. And I kind of wanted to make this video today because I feel as though that there are people out there who lose family members and don't know how to cope with it. Me personally, I was enrolled into therapy to learn how to express myself and deal with the emotions of my mother passing away. And I believe that it really did help because I wouldn't be who I am today and be this strong and be able to continue carrying out my days with knowing that my mom was never coming back. I just am so blessed to have the people who are still in my life that are constantly making sure that I'm okay, and just my main support system. Losing someone is very hard, especially when they're so close to you. So, like, the only advice I can just give is just know that they're in a better place and to never, ever, ever give up on life just because you lost someone. They wouldn't want you to act like that or be like that or be depressed or sad. I mean, it's normal and it's life. And I'm going to be honest. The pain never goes away, but it does get lighter. Like, and I think someone gave me that advice when my mom first passed away. The pain never goes away, but it does get lighter. And it's the truth. Every single day that passed, my pain is lighter and I feel better every single day. But it's like you're never going to forget that person for who they are and who they were to you and who they're always going to be to you. I'm just so grateful that I had 14 great years with my mother because my little sisters didn't have that much time with her. The 10-year-old, she had some time and she still has memories, but my youngest sibling, she was a baby when my mother passed away. So it's like, I don't know if she still has memories. I mean, she knows who my mom was and still is, but it's just different for every one of us. Like, all of our experiences and all our memories are totally different because of our age gap. But I'm just so grateful to be able to raise them and see the beautiful women that they're turning into, because I promised my mom that. I promised her that no matter what, I was never going to turn my back on my sisters. I was going to be there for them because we're all we have in this world. And that's something my mother used to tell me all the time. Don't ever forget that, Pito. You and your sisters are the only people you have in this world. No matter who comes and goes around you, you and your sisters are supposed to stand tall and stand strong together as one. So it's like, I loved seeing them grow over the years and me helping them grow into the women they are. And I'm going to input a message right there to show y'all from my sister, because that really just makes me feel accomplished and it just makes my heart smile. She thanked me for doing everything that I've been doing for the last 5 years, and that just is truly a blessing. I couldn't ask for anything more. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to view this video. It was something very sentimental and close to me that, like I said, I don't really share and talk about, but after this, I'll be inserting a couple pictures and just some memories of my mom in order to honor her for this making 5 years of her death. Thank you guys so much for viewing this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I should be having another video coming out very, 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 very soon. So once again, guys, thank you.